UFC Fight Night Abu Dhabi. We had UMAR versus CORY Sandhagen. Honestly, UMAR looked good. That's about it. I think the star of the show was CORY Sandhagen being able to defend those takedowns and being able to get back up once UMAR did get the takedown. UMAR got maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds of CORY being on the ground. CORY would granny roll, grab the ankle. Obviously, he was practicing that over and over and over, like drilling that move, and it worked. I was impressed. I feel like that was the real star of the show. The star wasn't UMAR and his striking. He looked okay. They were almost going point for point, little tit for tat. Nobody was making any real significant blows. I will say CORY's leg kicks in the first round, I think he had 2 outside leg kicks to UMAR that were devastating. I don't know why he gave those up and stopped kicking. It's almost like he realized, yeah, I can defend the takedown. Let me not put any more pressure on UMAR. Anyways, I don't think UMAR deserved his title shot. I know that's what Dana's saying and everyone's asking for. UMAR has 1 ranked win. I think the guy was number 15 or 16 at the time. I think he should go against Aldo, or I think they should make it against Figgy, number 1 contender, Davison Figueiredo versus UMAR. Why not? Why not? December, November, MSG, sometime around there, and make that the number 1 contender. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. Anyways, the co-main, Shara versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. Again, Shara just wins a nice decision over an opponent with 1 week notice or 2 week notice. This guy's been doing it for 10 years. His kicks are flashy, but he has no KO power. It took him 3 rounds to beat the Tricoli guy in his last fight. That guy was up on a week notice, and he looked like he was a walking zombie. He wasn't even punching back. I don't think he deserves anybody in the top 15, and I don't think he deserves Bo Nickel. Honestly, I think Bo Nickel has a lot more finishing contendership, I guess, than Shara does. Even though they both have, they both haven't beat top level guys. Obviously, I think Bo Nickel has more of a star power than Shara does. There wasn't nothing flashy in that one. Honestly, Shara was getting lit up on the feet too by Michael, and the most he could do is do a little side push kick to the body, head kick, skirt around on the outside, little leg kick here and there. Nothing real damaging. His takedown defense looked good. I'll give him that. He definitely worked on his takedown defense. I'll give him that. Still with the fence grabs and everything like that, but hey, it is what it is, right? In Abu Dhabi, there's different rules. What was the third fight on there? Let me remember. Cheeto and Davison. Pretty much played out how we all thought it was going to be. Davison steals the first round just based on activity. Cheeto looked good when... What am I fucking kidding? Cheeto didn't look good, y'all. He just didn't. He didn't look confident on the feet. He looked okay on the ground. He got back up a couple times. He wasn't really imposing his will on Davison, who was obviously the smaller guy. He looked way smaller than Cheeto. I don't know. I felt like Cheeto could have brawled and won that one. I think he looked gun shy, and he looked like once he got dropped, his confidence kind of wasn't there. He was coming alive in the second and third round a little bit more, but just, I don't know, man. I don't know what needs to happen with Cheeto. He needs to wake up and just fight. I'm a fucking fan. Obviously, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but from my perspective, it looked like Cheeto wasn't confident on the feet. It looked like he was gun shy against Davison, and Davison was a big, obviously smaller than Cheeto in the ring. They looked smaller. Cheeto looked thicker. He looked like a 135-pound fighter, while Davison looked like he was trying to be, coming up. Well, his power transfer over. Obviously, he dropped Cheeto, but Cheeto did take a lot of damage in his last fight. I'd love to see Davison versus either Peter Yan or UMAR for number 1 contender. I don't know why they haven't made Peter Yan speak up. You know, his team's usually pretty good about chipping after a fight. I would love to see that fight for #1 contender. I don't think Umar deserves it. Either do Davison versus Umar or Davison versus Peter Yan. Or get Umar to fight Aldo. Why not? Man, the UFC sometimes I don't fucking get it. I love it, don't get me wrong, and I'm still going to watch every pay-per-view, no matter how much I shit on the UFC or these fighters. I love all of them. They're all amazing. My point is, sometimes it just doesn't make sense the way that they string together these fights, right? Okay, who is the fourth fight on there? Tony Ferguson, Michael Chiesa. Tony, retire, bro. That is the most tiring Tony thing to do, throwing one glove in the fucking octagon and one glove into the stance, saying he's gonna retire. We all know he's not gonna fucking retire. And I don't know if the UFC's gonna cut him. I don't know if they will. He's on an 8-fight losing streak. And he just looks weak. It's not that he doesn't have wrestling. It's not that he doesn't have the right skills. He went against a guy in the 175-pound division that was a lot bigger than him. He looked soft. He looked weak. He looked like he couldn't wrestle. He got taken down easy. I don't know why the retirement isn't happening, man. Give him Jim Miller. Retire both of them. One fight, one and done. Call it quits. I'm done talking about that one, or I'm going to get fucking depressed and suicidal. I can't talk about this shit anymore. Oh, jeez. Okay. Who was left? Mackenzie Dern and Lupi Godinez. Both girls looked really good. I think both girls should stay in the top. You heard all that shit fall. I think both girls should stay in the top 10 to 15. They both looked really good. Mackenzie Dern definitely worked on her boxing. You got to give her that. Her chin was floating like nobody's business. Motherfucker looked like Aspinall out there. But hey, her boxing looked better. Against a Mexican boxer and wrestler, her boxing looked better. She needs to fix the chin problem, and if she can work on a little bit of wrestling, it would be life-changing to her career. Just a little bit, because her takedowns are fucking sloppy. They just are. She gives herself up open to shots, and it's like, why don't you tuck the head? Why don't you get the high crotch? It's women's MMA. You can't get too fucking technical, because then it's like a fucking override for their head. It was an entertaining fight. Let's just say that. And who was the last two on there? I think that was it. Yeah, that was a good card, man. That was a solid card. I really liked it. You know, Abu Dhabi always puts on good fights. Dana always provides for Abu Dhabi because they helped out during, you know, COVID with Fight Island and all that shit. I get it. I just wish he would upgrade, you know, the United States fight nights. Not the Apex cards. I get those. I think those should stick to, you know, people who aren't the biggest name in the UFC. But the fight nights, I feel like, should be pretty stacked, you know? And now we got Tybura versus fucking Spivak. What the hell's going on? We just had a fight night for Abu Dhabi that could basically be a main card, other than a title fight. You know, I digress. I love the UFC. I love the fucking events. I shit on it because I'm a fucking fan. I'm still gonna watch. Sometimes it just fucking irks me, man. Shit drives me up a wall. Anyways, thanks for listening to my TED Talk. It was an entertaining night of fights. All the guys brought out the heart. They brought out the fight. You gotta give it to them. There wasn't too much, you know, bullshit refereeing. Shara grabbed the fence a couple times, but that's all I really saw. Not a lot of eye pokes, not a lot of fucking crotch sniffing. There were good fights. Even Umar was striking, and I know he couldn't take CORY down, but he wasn't just spamming takedowns. You know, he wasn't pulling a fucking Marab. Anyways, it was good fights. Looking forward to this weekend. I can't even say that shit with a straight face. I digress. I wanted to make a quick note about Elvis Brenner and Joel Alvarez. Alvarez looks really good. I would love to see him against Jalen Turner. He was so patient on the feet, no wasted movements. maybe a couple more feints, because I feel like against a really good striker, he's kind of there to be hit, you know, because he's so fucking tall for the weight class. But so is Jalen Turner, so I would love to see that scrap. I think Joel Alvarez could really use his grappling and his submission game. Obviously, Jalen Turner does not have a great ground game, but the striking on point. Same thing what we saw from Joel Alvarez. Obviously, it's Elvis Brenner, it's not Jalen Turner, but I would love to see that scrap up on the top for prelims or something like that. Alvarez picked Brenner apart slowly by slowly, bit by bit. I mean, round after round. I think he got, what, a third round TKO or something like that with the flying knees. That was crazy. That was like 15 or 20 knees. Just boom, 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 boom. I mean, Brenner can take a beating, but that guy showed no improvements from his last fight to this fight. And Alvarez is, what, 17-0 or something like that? Something crazy. I think he has a good record. He has like barely any losses, and, you know, obviously he puts it out on the line. He's going for the finish. He's not just going for the decision. I was impressed by that guy. Managing distance. I mean, Brenner couldn't even touch the fucking guy. I understand he's real tall, so he already has the reach advantage. But to be able to pick him apart and manage the distance, got to give him his credit. I would love to see him against Jalen Turner, top of the prelims, maybe even bottom of the main card. Let's see. But yeah, UFC Abu Dhabi fight night. I was impressed. I was impressed by most of the guys that actually showed out. You know, Sandhagen, honestly, I wish he could have done a little bit better, but you get what you get, man. I digress.